Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's session, which is going to basically be about how you can install your Tally, and we can see other features also, the basic features of how to create ledgers, and how we can go ahead and create your suppliers and customers. Plus, we would also give you a little bit of idea on the F11 features. So let me start. First, we will install over here. I hope basically everyone can see my screen over here. If anyone is not able to see the screen, yeah, perfect. So this is, let me start by typing. So I come on to Tally Solutions. I type in Tally Solutions Mina in the browser. This is basically if I want to download Tally onto my desktop, right? And I have not used Tally before. So this is how we do it. So we log into the browser. We type in Tally Solutions, and on the right hand side, if you a download option, right? Now it really doesn't matter if you are taken a Tally.ERP single user or a multi-user. A single user is basically where you have one system and one user, right? So you get one license, which means one person can use the license on one computer. And a multi-user is wherein one license can be used on multiple systems, one which will be the server system and the other will be the client systems. So I click on download over here. This is the new product or the new version of Tally. Right? I click on install now, or I can click on download. And on the right hand side or left hand side below corner, you see there's a setup file which is getting downloaded. So once that is downloaded, it will automatically give me a pop-up. It's like any usual software which you download, any Microsoft or any other software. This is as simple as that. So here you see I get a pop-up box which says that this is my destination file, wherein I can choose where I want this folder to be downloaded. So I click on install, and then I click on continue. So this is my Tally getting installed onto the computer. Any questions, you could always post it in the question panel in case, and we will answer it as the session progresses. If anyone cannot hear me, please let me know then and there so that I could make the changes. So now that we've successfully installed Tally, Tally will automatically open. You don't have to do anything about it. All right. Now, as I have already got my license active on this computer, so it gives me an option to choose, right? But I'll exit out of this. Right? Now, if I show you how it looks when someone is installing a new Tally, right? This is a PDF that we've created just for your reference. So you get a screen which says activate your license, right? And these are the licensing operations options. So then you have reactivate license or get a rental license, which is actually not there at the moment. So for us as new users, we do activate your license, right? Once we click on activate your license, if you see below, Tally is in educational mode. So for you to get your license activated, you click on activate your license. You come to a screen where it says activating your license, you would require a serial number and an activation key, right? And your administrative email ID. So the partner from which you bought the license will give you a serial number and an activation key to put it in this box, right? The serial number is a numerical sequence and the activation key is an alphanumerical. So after you've entered that, you enter your administrator email ID, which is basically the email ID where you will get all the required information from Tally, right? Once you enter that, your license gets activated. You get a screen which says congratulations, your license is activated. But before that, you would get an one-time password or an OTP on your registered email address to confirm if this is the right email address you've given. Right? Once you entered that, you come on to the main screen wherein you are here. All right, your Tally is activated, and here you can create your companies. So this is mainly your main screen of Tally. So I click on create company, right? Let me shut down all the other companies if there are any open. No, I don't have any other companies. So I create my company. This is a screen where I will be putting in my company name. Let's say ABC Private Limited. Okay. Now the best part about Tally is that it does not confine you to just open one company, right? With one vertical, you can have as many companies in your one license. There's no restriction on that. Operating on different areas or operating in different verticals. So you can have one trading company, you can have one service company, all right, or you can have a group company and create all that. So here I've entered the company name, right, and that's the mailing address. So you can put your mailing address. Now the country I choose will be UAE, of course. I come down, I choose my Emirates as Dubai. I enter my phone number over here. I enter my mobile number. So these are all the details when you create your company. Your website. Now here you type in your financial year. So basically, if you're buying the license and your year is going to start from 2020, so it's Jan 1st, 2020. Books beginning also remains the same, preferably. Right. This is your Tally Vault password, which I will not do anything as of now. Now, what this is your use security control. Okay. Now, if I click on yes, right, and I click on password, so I can have my own password over here. Now, if you see, it gives me a message on the right hand side wherein it clearly says that forgetting this password, even we will not be able to help you. So this is the password which you will need to remember in order to access your Tally for security reasons. All right, so please ensure that you do not forget this password. You come down, right, and then you have your use Tally audit features and other disallow in educational mode, which is not required. So enable VAT, which of course, if you are if you're a VAT entitled company, then you enable this. you give your transaction ID, which is your VAT number, your registration date when you know. So let's say if I have 2020, and this is your periodicity. If you want your monthly or quarterly, it's generally quarterly that people prefer. And your first quarter tax period starts from 1st Jan. So for some people, it is the calendar year. For some people, it is the financial year. So I'll take it as a calendar year for now. And then your base currency is automatically reflected AED. So if you look over here, I go back, my currency will change as the country I choose. And so will my VAT details also change. So if I've chosen United Kingdom, then it changes to pounds, right? Now I've chosen UAE, so it remains AED UAE dirham, which is automatically with the country you've chosen. Now the main thing in Tally is the most simplest part is that there are only 4 buttons that you need to use in Tally. Just 4. If you're using your keyboard, which is generally told to that's the most simple part. So you can use your up arrow and down arrow, which is your up arrow and down arrow, and the escape button to go back to the previous screen, and the enter button to go into the next screen. So here all I'm doing is clicking enter to go into the next screens. So here's my company. I've created the company ABC Private Limited. It gives me a security pop-up which says type in your name of the user and password. I type that in, and I'm into the gateway of Tally, which is my main screen of Tally after I've created the company. Now you see there's no vouchers entered, all right, and the current period is the same that I've entered, which is 1st of Jan 2020 till 31st of December 2020. Now, the first thing that we need to do as a new company is we start creating ledgers, which basically means I create my own suppliers, I create my own customers, I create my bank accounts, I have my bank accounts registered, I have a VAT ledger created because I'm a VAT compliant company, and few other my stock items because I'm a trading company. So I start with the accounts info. This is the place where basically I create all my ledgers. Now, before I go ahead and do this, there is one key important thing that for every company that is created, you have something called the F11. So when I click on F11, this is a place where you standardize your way of working, right? So I will show you how this works. Now, these have 3 options in the company features. So for every company, this is different. For every company that you register on Tally, you can use the F11 features to configure how you want the company to operate. Right. So when I click on accounting features, these are a few features which I'll explain to you. Now, coming down to maintain accounts only, which means this is basically only for option wherein you only maintain your accounts. Now, since we are a trading company, we need to have inventory also, right? And this remains no. So we come down to integrate accounts and inventory. Now, if I click on yes, my below option automatically becomes no and nullified because I'm clicking only on accounts only. So I make this no. I come down and I say make this into yes. So the only here you either type in Y, it becomes yes. You don't have to type in the whole thing. So I maintain my accounts and inventory. Right? Now use my income and expenses instead of profit and loss. So it's always suggested that you use your income and expenses on a trading account, on a trading company, right? Because the profit and loss is basically used for non-trading accounts. The income and expenditure is all income expenses instead of profit and loss in the gateway of Tally is mainly used for non-trading accounts, and profit and loss account is used for trading accounts. So I obviously click remain. This remains no. I want to use profit and loss. Enable multi-currency gives you an option to basically add currencies if you are in an export or an import kind of a business. Okay. So if you click on yes, it will help you have your multi-currencies enabled. I will show that also to you in a while. Maintain bill-wise details. Now, bill-wise details is a facility or it's a function basically given to you. By activating the bill-wise details feature, the ledger masters under sundry debtors or sundry creditors automatically displays. So I will just show that to you over here. So let's say I click on yes and I save this for you. I exit out of it. I come over here. I'm making a ledger for you. So let's say I have a customer as a ledger and I put it under sundry debtors. So in the terminology, my customers are my sundry debtors and my suppliers are my sundry creditors. Okay. So automatically, if you see, I get an option over here which says maintain balances bill by bill. Now from here, if I click on F11, I make this no and I save this using Control A. So in Tally, anything that you want to save, after you made the changes, you just click on Control A and it gets saved. Now, if you see over here, my maintain bill by bill option is not there, right? So it's disappeared because in the F11 features where I'm configuring the company, I have disabled it. Now from here, I don't need to exit out. I can directly click on F11, go back and enable the same because I need this feature for my future transactions. So I automatically get it over here. Now here you can define a default credit period. You can define inventory values affected or not. And then you type in your customer's address and your other details of the customer. Right? So I'll exit out of this now. I go back to my F11 features, which I was going to show you. Okay. So you can use this for non-trading accounts as well, which as of now we are not, since we have only registered a trading company and we've got trading accounts. But for non-trading accounts, you can just make this yes as well, right? But as of now, I'm going to make it no. Now you can activate interest calculation. Now this interest calculation option is based on the interest and style of calculation specified. Okay, so enabling this option allows you to have interest calculation on the outstanding balances for any ledger account or each invoice period. So basically, if you have an outstanding, you would like to have your interest calculated on that, and for the number of days that your payments are pending, you can also activate this. Now the reason it skips the use advanced parameters is because I've not activated it. If I click on yes, it takes me there. As of now, I do not require it, so I keep it as no. In case you want to activate payroll, you can activate payroll from here. Then you've got cost centers. Now, if you're wondering what cost centers is, basically cost centers is an option given to you or the feature given to you in Tally, to be more precise, wherein you are you want categories, or if you want options wherein you are highlighting your particular project. Now, let's say I'm in a construction business and I've got 3 sites, right, where I've got work going on. So one is the Jumeirah site, one is the Barsha site, and one is Al Quoz. So for each cost center, I want to find out what is the cost, what are the expenses, what are the profits, and what are the losses for each site. That is the time I make each site as a cost center and associate all these transactions with it. So ideally, Tally will give you each site's profit and losses, expenditures, and incomes, and how much of inventory as well is associated in each site. Yeah, so this also is a feature available. Now then you have invoicing, enable invoicing, record in purchase mode. Yeah, this always will be yes. And then you use your other features over here, which is meant record your credit notes and debits note. Then you've got the banking features, which is enable check printing. Now you can set your alter transaction types. You can set banking features. If I click on yes, this takes me to, you can put here yes. And then you can have your PDCs also, which is your post dated. And you can have everything entered over here for your bank, for all your PDCs and everything. Then your zero value transactions, if there are any zero value transactions. Maintain multiple mails of companies or ledgers. Here you can always have your company logo. Now when I click on yes, it takes me to the path where I need to enter where my logo is saved. So in case I have a logo which I would like to have on my invoice when I'm printing it, on my company's invoice, I can put the path and define the path and give a BMP or JPEG picture over here, which automatically will get selected. Yeah. So I make this no for the time being. Change vouchers, you can enabling, and these are the other features. Now, once I come on to here, I click on F2, which is again, I need to configure for my inventory, which are my inventory features. So this by default remains yes, integrate my accounts and inventory. Enables any zero value transactions, maintain multiple locations. So in case I've got warehouses, so in different locations, I can make this into yes. Maintain stock categories. So I can make this into yes. If there are food products and you've got batch-wise details, you want to set expiry dates, you can also do that. Yeah, you want use separate build and actual columns quantity. You can make this into yes. Now this you do it yes because if you are doing a PO or you're giving a sales order, you can always make this option as yes. It is good to make it yes. Either you use it or you don't use it. That's a different thing. But you enable it for now, and you enable your job order processing as well. Ideally, when I walk into a shop, if there is a computer shop on the street, or I walk in, there's no need for a sales order. They just take out the invoice and they give it to you when you buy something off the shelf. So this is not required for people who actually issue a sales order, but for companies, it is required most of the time. Then you enable your invoicing, yes. Sorry, you enable this into yes, record purchases in invoice mode, of course. If I have to issue any debit notes or credit notes, record credit notes in my invoice mode, debit note in my invoice mode. You have separate columns, discount columns in invoices. Now you want this, you can also enable this. It is basically you have separate discount columns, which will show you that how much of discount you've given, if you are giving any. Track additional purchases could be when you are doing a purchase and you've got, or you're doing a sales and you've got labor charges. You want to track any additional charges like your labor charges or your loading and unloading charges. This column will help you. When I make it into yes, it will track your additional purchases apart from your sales. Use multiple price levels. Now when I click on multiple price levels over here, it will take me to an option where in case you have few loyal customers, right, and you want to give them a certain amount of pricing, you can configure this over here. This helps you get it configured over here. We will show you this to you in the other sessions. As of now, this is an option given in Tally. So I make this no at the moment. Use tracking numbers, use rejection inwards, material vouchers, cost tracking for my stock items. So these are the few features that are there in the inventory and your accounts. Now if I go to F3, I click on my statutory information which I have already entered. So my transaction, my Emirates, my TRN number, my registration date. Yeah. Set and alter VAT details is an option given. If your company is in a designated zone, which is like the free zone, Jebel Ali or Dubai Airport free zone, or the Sharjah free zone, you can make this into yes. Okay. Now, once we've done this, we click on Control A and exit out of the screen, which means we have configured our basic workings of how we want our company to function. Coming back to the main gateway of Tally, once we have done the F11, configured the F11 features, right? Now we need to create suppliers and customers and all the other basic relevant information that we need for a company to run. So this is, before I go, Tally, this is the gateway of Tally where you've got masters, you've got transactions, utilities is basically the extra things that you use, which is import data and banking. And finally, you've got reports. So in reports, you've got balance sheet, profit and loss, stock and statement, stock summary, analysis and verification, which will give you a data analysis. Right? So let's start with creating a few ledgers. Going into, now let's say I have a company, I have a trading company, and I basically deal with mobile phones. Yeah. So I deal with brands like Samsung, iPhone for the moment. So I click on groups. I create a group first. So I come over here. Now, the reason I create a group is because under Samsung, might have different models, right? So I create a group basically for the understanding and for the easy access. Tomorrow, if I want to see a profit-wise or I want to see sales, I want to see purchases group-wise, I can also see group-wise. I want to see item-wise, I can also see item-wise. So it's always preferable to create groups, and under these groups, you create your items. So I create group. Now in Tally, you already got a list of predefined groups. Sorry. So it's supposed to be created under stock item. Now it's under primary. Should quantities of item be added? I make it yes, and I save it. So this is my stock group that I've created. Right? Now I create another stock group, which is basically my iPhone. I make this into yes, and I accept it. Now I made two stock groups. Now I make items. So I create items. Let's say under Samsung, I have S10 at the moment. Now I tag this under Samsung. Now category is not required. Units, I have to create units. So I create units over here, which is numbers, or I create pieces. Yeah. Taxable, of course, this is goods. So here you've got options where you can make it under goods or services. So these are my goods. I put an opening balance. We haven't made any purchases. However, if I have existing stock, I can always put it over here. So let's say I put 100 units. I define the location. Now, like I said, we've enabled in F11 the multi-location. So I can have multi-location over here. In case I want to create multi-location over here, I can always click on Alt-C and create a multi-location over here. So like you see, it gives me an option to be on the same screen and create a multi-location. I don't have to exit out, come onto the main screen of Gateway of Tally and create my location. So from there, I can create a multi-location. Now, as this is in the same main location, I click on main location. I just have one location at the moment. 100 pieces are there. I can define the rate. So let's say I've got S10 for 2,500 dirhams, for example, per piece. It gives me a total amount automatically for the stock over here. So I have put the opening balance for my stock item under my group Samsung for that particular item. Now, likewise, I create one for iPhone. I put it under iPhone as a category stock group. My unit is already created. It's the same pieces. Okay. I put the same quantity 100. Price will be 3,000. So I've created two stock groups and two stock items under the stock groups. I exit out of this. Coming back to my accounts info. Like I was saying, Tally already got predefined groups. So here I'll give you a small thing about the list of groups. It's bank accounts. Here you've got branch divisions, you've got current assets, liabilities, your expenses. So basically, I'll tell you how this works. When these are the groups. Now, when I create a ledger, I create my supplier. Let's say I'm creating a supplier. I create a branch mobile phones. And I put them under. So he's basically my supplier. And I put them under my sundry creditors. So all my suppliers will be my current liabilities. I maintain bill by bill automatically, which I enabled in the F11 feature. Inventory values not required. And here you enter his mailing address. You enter the supplier's mailing address. You have an option, right? Which country, which Emirates. Provide bank details if required. And if he's a VAT enabled or if he's not, you enter his VAT number. I've entered his VAT number. And this is, I accept it. Okay. So here I've created one of my suppliers. Now I create a customer, saying it's customer 2. And this becomes my sundry debtors. So all my customers will be my sundry debtors. I maintain bill by bill, yes. The same procedure for creating my customer as well. So I've created ledgers like this, wherein I've created a supplier, I've created a customer, I've created a stock group, I've created a stock item. So these are basically how I do my master's creation. Right? Now let's say I want to create a bank account. Let's say I go to bank, I create a ledger called Rack Bank, and I created it under bank accounts. So currency will be AED. Here you can give your account number. And same wise you can give your IBAN number, which may not be the same as the account number because I'm just typing in. Here you choose your bank name. So you've got quite a few banks over here, right? Which are in GCC and in UAE as well. So you can choose. You can just type in Iraq, and it'll bring you to a option where you could choose Rack Bank. Set checkbooks features. This becomes yes. Now you can type in 0001 to checkbook 000045. Right. So I've got 45 checks automatically. Check bank name, and you can press Control N and save it. Now here you can set check printing option to yes if you want. This is how it's going to look. So you can use different formats. So I can have format 2, I can have format 1, or I can have a user defined format. Right. Now I choose this. I print company name on the checkbook. So I make this yes. Right. And then you have a solution of first signatory, second signatory, distance from top edge, and all those things. So you can define this as per your requirement. As of now, I don't print it. I click on no, right? But I've enabled the feature. I have my address for the bank, and I give my VAT number as well over here, which I put in the main screen. So this is how you register your bank account. Now every company will require a capital, right? So I create a capital account as well. So let's say I create ABC Capital. Under capital account, regular. I can give a TRN number over here, the same thing that I've entered. And then I give an opening balance of, let's say, 5 million or 500,000, sorry. I accept it, and here I've created my capital account. So when I go into accounts, I go into ledgers, I go into display. So these are few things that I've created over here, right? I've created an ABC Capital, I've created a customer, I've created few other accounts. So these are basically how you can create under your predefined groups, right? So branch and divisions, like I said, you can also create a cash in hand, right? You can create current assets. So for some people, there are computers, and you can have a fixed assets, and then you can put under income, indirect or indirect expenses. So these are all things that you can create when you're creating a ledger. Now, there's one thing that we forgot. We forgot to create a VAT or a ledger. So I create a VAT and I put it under duties and taxes. So this is a VAT ledger which I've created. So basically, when I'm doing any kind of a sales or a purchase, this will automatically be pulled out as 5%. I don't have to put it in separately. So I've created a VAT ledger. And here, like I showed you, for multiple currencies, you can have currencies also created. So at the moment, there's only AED. You can come here and you can choose a $sign, dollar. So you can have decimal places because every currency will have a decimal. You can have suffix to the amount. You can make this yes. So these are my currency that I've created. When I go over here on display, I see my other currency that is created over here. I can also put a rate of exchange. right? My standard rate will be 3.675. And the same will be specified. So basically, this is how you enter all the rates. So these are the ledgers that I've created. And this is the balance sheet, and these are the other reports. So basically, this is how you do your basic entries or your transactions of any company that you created initially. I think with this, we will end the session. Any questions you could please ask me now.